Hi Gianluca, lovely to meet you, and also lovely to see that you're using the same ball machine as me. I think it's Bonkbot if I'm saying this correctly, but let's just go straight into it because I'm gonna give you one tip per shot. That's the most important one I see, or maybe two. And then what I'd love to see is those same videos and just submit them separately, maybe, so I can really give you even more in-depth analysis and also give you a little bit more in-depth drills because it's gonna be a lot. So when I go from here, if you see your foot positioning and how you're finishing, you're really stepping across as you're hitting, but ideally you plant that outside foot and then you turn your front hips and front leg to go forward. So your front leg, your right leg shouldn't be crossing over like this. It's outside leg and then you step forward, if that makes sense. So otherwise your hips can't turn to your target, right? And then you end up in this crunch position, and from that the ball a lot of the times will go to the net because you're not fully extending your arms forward because your body's enabling you to fully finish the shot. So that's number one thing here. Alongside, I saw that you could be doing better dropping the racket head down, but yeah, I will speak about that again. So that's the main two things on the back end. So because you don't drop your racket head down and because you're too closed off with your hips, because of the foot positioning, that's why your balls go a lot of times in the net, so you don't have that shape and full extension. So if we go into slices now, right, again we have that similar thing where you still have reserve of not fully finishing the shot, so your body weight is not utilized fully. You can use the legs a bit more, so really load on the back leg and then fully go forward, not just to your front leg but also with the arm longer follow through. So you like to go to the side too quickly, I need you to be on side on for longer and really reach through, almost like you want to touch the white tape with your racket tip, and then you can finish. But if you're already going sideways while you still have contact with the ball, then yeah, the ball's gonna not go deep, and it's also gonna a lot of times end up in the net and sideways. So the longer the follow through, the better on slice. And of course you still hit some amazing slices, but that would be my main tip there. If we go into your forehand, again, you have really good understanding of tennis and what you need to do. It's just that those tweaks will really help you. Number one thing here, like I said, I'm gonna go one by one, is that you're super open and have an open stance, and that usually can be a really good thing, especially when you're on a run. But see, right now you're in a very comfortable spot, which is in the middle. And when you're in the middle, right, you're not running to get any sort of physical momentum. And because there is no momentum, it becomes really hard to transfer the weight from this stance from the middle. And that's why I would recommend you to change this stance to a little bit more, you almost did it, semi-open, and that will make it a lot easier and more natural for you to be able to transfer the weight from back leg, your right leg in this case, to your left leg forward, rather than staying open and then again not fully being able to transfer the body forward and also opening too early because of it. So, and even if you do have an open stance, once you start, you have a really nice unit turn and then you already start opening. So semi-open stance will solve that here. And then on the wide balls, of course, use this stance, but make sure you're really guiding your racket through first before even thinking of opening your hips. Now then you will be able to penetrate more power. Again, you'll be finishing the shot properly and you're gonna have a lot more control. So I noticed a few things here, but I would say the most important thing is that we need to fix your foot positioning. So most of it really with you is a lot of it is foot positioning, because like I said, you have really good speed of your arm, you have really good understanding of what you need to do, you know, you have the grit, you're doing this, so a lot of it, it's already amazing. With the foot positioning, so you are doing what we call platform stance, right? So Roger Federer, basically. We want to look like Roger Federer. Now the thing is, I'm not sure if you noticed here, but you move your front foot, right? Which is not ideal. And you do that because in initial stance, you position yourself as if you're gonna do a pinpoint stance. So your back leg is too far to the left for you and it's too far back. So if you want to do a Roger stance, you need slightly more feet together and more stacked, because you're gonna want to generate more power from it. And what you do now is you do a proper like normal tennis stance, but because you want pinpoint, you move your front foot closer. So basically you're taking an extra step whilst you're serving, which will disturb your rhythm, even though you hit some amazing hard shots. So this is your number one thing to focus here. Get a little bit closer with your feet and then stack them so they're almost parallel to each other. And that way you're gonna be really ready to load down into both and not be on the tippy toes on your front leg, and you'll be able to generate even a lot more, even though you already naturally seem to have that power. So when it comes to smashing, here is when you want to be more turned like this, so showing a little bit more side body to the cord, because what you're doing here again, even though you can produce some amazing smashes, right, you don't have that much variety to them, and that's because you're always kind of positioned like this rather than fully side on. And then once you go up, you can really choose the pronation and how much you want to pronate to aim a little bit better, not just through the middle, but also into the angle. So you need to position yourself a little bit more sideways, hide that elbow from your opponent even more, and then you can really reach up. Again, push from back leg upwards, and you can choose a little bit better in terms of direction. And then volleys looked really solid. So I'm just gonna go quickly through them. Again, lovely split step, lovely going through. I would say depending on where the ball comes, obviously here the balls come really nicely and you kind of get away with finishing a little bit lower. But in a match situation, I will say especially be careful, because now you're very close to the net. If you're a little bit further, finishing downwards with your racket will conclude in balls going into the net a lot of the times. So really try and focus on keeping the racket head. So the racket head a little bit higher than finishing here. So a little bit higher than your wrist, or at least the same level, and pushing a little bit more through rather than finishing down. Especially on the first volleys, that's going to be very much life-saving. You have really good touch on forehand, and on forehand, if you can see, you are finishing slightly better as well. So it's really nice. Like I said, forehand volley is better in my opinion than backhand. One thing that I notice here is a little bit of that shoulder hit. So just forget about hitting with the shoulder. You're already having a nice step. You can maybe cross over the step a little bit more, and that's gonna give you power, but you don't want to actually hit with your shoulder. So keep your shoulder nice and steady, whole body moves into the shot, and then that will prevent that opening of your wrist and racket head to the side. So yeah, that's quite a bit now of information. I'm gonna do my best to put it all in the writing for you, and so that you're gonna have things to work on and everything's gonna be clear. Shall there be anything, don't hesitate to ask me, and I really hope to see these videos individually as well, and we can really go through them.